give you my whole publishing story. This hasn't really been said anymore. I had another author friend of mine who said, I told him the story, and he said that I should write an article on this. But I have been neglecting to do so willfully, simply because, it's not really some people don't come out in a positive light in this. But, maybe it's time to tell the story. I'll keep names out. So I was attending this really, really cool festival called the Summer of Writing. It's with Jericho Writers. And if you're a writer, you should seriously check out Jericho Writers. It's fantastic. They have helped so many authors get published. Sort of me, but they don't know they did help with that, but they did. So I was watching this lecture because this other year I was actually attending in person in 2019. Then COVID hit, so then it was online, and I wasn't really paying attention as much as I should. But I saw this one session, which was an author branding, I think, and you had a really, really good speaker there. She was very inspirational and really could help a lot of people to rise above the noise, because this market is saturated for sure. I mean, there are too many books, which is fun, and I think that you rather have for the readers, that's what you want. You sort of want there to be too much. Well, you don't want there to be too much choice. Imagine you went into a boutique and you want a shampoo, and there were 1,000 different shampoos. Like, you would just get stressed out. But
yeah, choice paralysis.
Exactly, right? There's if there's one, that sucks, because okay, I have no options. But if there's 100, the chance that I'm gonna pick the best shampoo is nothing. Anyway, so she was talking about this, and at the end she just mentions, by the way, I am a co-owner of this British publisher. I was like, really? Whoa. And I went into and I started searching, and I found her. I found the publishing site, and I submitted my book, The Beast Hunters. The book wasn't called that by then. I think it was called Willbreaker or something, because I hadn't really landed any names and anything, and that was the worst name. So I learned a lot. They asked for more, which was very fun. You get a full request, is what that's called, where they want to see the whole book. And then I got then they started asking a lot of questions, and I was like, oh my god, they're going to publish me. And I remember I got this email when I was at the gym, and they said, hey, we would like to publish the book. Can you have a meeting? And I was ecstatic. That was a lot of fun. That was really, really freaking cool. And I'll skip forward. I signed the deal, and the book was supposed to come out, I don't remember when, sometime in 2021, I think. But it was pushed back and stuff because of COVID and editing stuff. Anyway, so we start working together. And one of the two people that owned this was harder to work with than the other one. But the main issue was that they never really... First meeting we had, they were very positive, which they should be. They got me hyped up. And this wasn't like a trick on their side at all. They weren't trying to trick me or anything. They were genuinely hyped. So your book is amazing. It's really good, and we wanna sign you on. I'm like, that's cool. They had this other kind of deal because they're small. So the deal was not traditionally published, but I'm not going to go into that too much. It's just I had to pay some money, but I got more money in return for each sale. Not that I made much money on this deal. Then we started working together, and there was never any positive feedback after that. That was sort of tough to deal with. It felt like you have to do this, now do this, and I didn't feel like I had really any say. Because every time I sort of pushed back on changes they wanted to, it was always like, well, maybe we shouldn't work together. Like, okay, can we talk a little? Can we have a conversation about it and sort of battle our ideas out? No, we don't have time for that. All right.
So that was after you were signed, yeah? Like you were already signed, and they were like,
signed. Yeah, and then they sort of, it's as if they relaxed more and could just sort of boss me around. And they always threaten with, we can just break the deal off. And, I wanted this deal. I think it could be anything. I've signed a contract here. And then so I got this long list of edits they wanted. And I did all that. But they mentioned something very small, like, hey, we would also feel that, because at that time the Beast Hunters was multiple point of views, right? So you followed the main character Ara, but you also followed Kendrick, and you had a chapter with Topper, which are the three main characters, right? So it's the young girl and the two experienced Beast Hunters. And they sort of had a thrown-off comment of, yeah, we were discussing maybe if we wanted to be a single point of view, just from Ara's perspective. And I was like, how is that going to be possible? But I didn't do that then because it was just a suggestions. They had this whole list of things they wanted, and so I worked my ass off on that. I sent it in, and we were sort of approaching publishing date. And what happened, then they sent me back like, hey, we forgot to send you this as a requirement, but we actually do want this to be single point of view. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? We're like 3 weeks from publication or 4 weeks. It was close. And I was like, and I started crafting this insane email of all the situations and the stories that would have in the book that would have to change, all of it. Like, and what I was doing, I was highlighting all these problems, writing, and I was like, this is the only way I can see I can fix it. And then I actually started fixing all the problems that would show up if I did it this way. So I would just have to have Ara way more engaged in the story all the time, and I had to change some stuff. And I, as I was complaining in the email, I actually see that, okay, I can actually make this work. But I highlighted some problems, and the solutions I got back on how they would solve it was just so you have this one scene. Have you read the book?
Yeah, I did.
Beast Hunters. Okay, right. So there's this one scene in the book where Ara goes with Kendrick at night, and they end up in the morgue, right? And they talk with this Nadam. He's the mortician, right? Originally in that scene, Ara's not there. Kendrick is going along because she's actually knocked out from the spores she breathed in, right? So her story sort of takes a pause there, how it was. And she's actually asleep, and he goes by himself. And instead, now I just woke her up earlier. She was kind of fuzzy, and then she goes with him. And that's actually a good change. I'm glad I made it that way. But that's me. I'm the one who fixed that. So they just wanted to change. But the suggestion I got back from one of them on how to change this, and she is an author, is, well, you can have Kendrick just tell her everything he did that night when she wakes up. And I'm just like, are you for real? That's so boring. Like, what? Are you kidding me?
Just info dump it.
Info dump it in. Just be like, hey, while you were asleep, all this awesome stuff happened. I met with Horana. She's this Beast Hunter supply store guru, owns the store. I was at the morgue where I had verbal combat with two police officers, one who turns out to be a bad guy. I was like, are you serious? I'm like, that's your suggestion? Obviously, I didn't do it. So that's why instead I just wake Ara up and she goes with him, which is a great change because it shows he gives her more agency. It shows how much she wants to like do this. She's very optimistic. She has this drive. Like I was out. I'm sort of blurry, but I want to go. This is a mystery. I love mysteries. so that was good. But those were the sort of changes that they suggested, and I just, I was like, are you for real? I was sort of shocked. I'm like, you're an author, and that's your suggestion? Are you kidding me? Yeah. But anyway, what I did, I worked fucking tirelessly for a whole week. When I was done at work, it was home office at the time, I closed that computer and I sat I didn't even eat dinner with my girlfriend most of those days. I was just working, getting that in, and I worked my freaking ass off. And I sent it in. I'm like, here it is. I think I fixed everything. Everything's okay. And they never said thank you. They never said good job. They didn't say, like, we appreciated the work you've done for it. It was a massive overhaul of the whole book. And nothing, not even a good job, no thank you. Just like, okay, yeah, we'll read it and we'll look at it. And then they highlighted some more problems that I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to fix this. And I fixed that and sent it in. And they were like, okay, yeah, we're ready to go to production. And I felt, they were so, I didn't feel like they saw me. They didn't see the effort that I put down, which I would have wanted. There's no requirement that they should have to do that, but it would have been nice.
Yeah, especially as a small publisher, who do you expect to have more understanding of you?
Yeah. One of them is an author. You would think that she would understand that you want some approval or you want some validation of your work, even if, maybe if you had the greatest confidence in the world, you didn't need that, but it's very, these are the gatekeepers for you to publish your book, right? So, and they never said thank you or anything. And then, okay, the book was live, and we printed, I think, 300 copies, physical copies, and then it's also, on ebook and everything. And then they don't call me. They never called me. I often wanted to talk to them, but they never could. They didn't have the time. And what happened next was that they sent an email after 6 days saying, "Hey, we have almost depleted the books. There aren't many left. There's less than 100 or less than 80 or something. We want to print more books. And I'm the one paying for these books to be printed, which was part of the deal. That wasn't new." And I was like, "Oh, that's great. Are you guys satisfied? Are you like, do you think are you happy with me? Are you not regretting taking a chance on me?" And the answer was really just like, "Yeah, we just need to print more books. Yeah, if you could decide how many books you want to print, then that would be great." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go for 300 more, but are you guys happy? 300 books more. Great." I'm like, "Come on, just give me something. Give me some good news. Make me feel good. I'm your author. You signed me on. I feel like you can be somewhat responsible for bringing me good news and bad news." Oh, what also happened before this, by the way, in the publishing, when we were getting the book ready, is that I sent a document to them, but somehow the assistant mixed the document up with the previous one and sent that to the editors instead. And they got back to me like, "Hey, you haven't made any changes. What's going on here? Blah, blah." And I was like, "What?" And they sent me the document back, and I could easily see this is not the document I sent. So I sent them this email where I had all this proof that, in this document, it's like this. But I haven't ever made those changes here. And I had like 10 hard proof that I sent another file. That's not the file I sent. You guys mixed it up. But they were like, no, that's not what happened. You sent us the wrong file. If you could make the changes, that'd be great. I'm like, "No, are you reading what I wrote you? I didn't send you the wrong file. You have all the changes already." And they were like, and this was the issue, like, "No, but if you could just make the changes in this document instead." I'm like, "You have a document, another one, with all the changes already made. Why do they have to be in this document?" I'm like, "Well, that's what we want." I'm like, "But I already did all this. You mixed up the files." And then what I did, I just copied everything from the correct document, deleted everything the other one, pasted it in, sent it back, and said, "Okay, I made all the changes now." They're like, "Thank you." And I think, honestly, they couldn't have made a mistake. I think maybe that was the issue. They could, because the mistake was really clear. Like, it was very easy for me to prove without a doubt that I had sent the right document. They had never gotten it. Or they had gotten it, but she had mixed it up, the assistant. And it's not like it's a big deal. I mean, she's a person. That happens. She's a human being. But it's just that I wish they just said, "Oh, okay, right, then we'll take the other document you sent and we'll work with that."
Yeah, of course, but it didn't sound like you were communicating with a person. It's just like you were with a chatbot or something.
Exactly. Who are like, "No, this is wrong." It's like, no, it isn't. God. Yeah. Anyway, so we start, we get the book published, and I do a lot of promotion here in Norway because they have no reach to in Norway, but I do. So I get it out to all these bookstores here, right? Because I'm a good talker. I'm very inspired by my own work. I have all this passion. So a lot of bookstores here take it in. I get it in the newspaper and stuff. So the book sells well, and they think it sells. But I'm starting to get this thing because I can't find it in any stores in the UK. Like, not any. I'm like, am I selling? And they have this sales team. So I start wondering if am I outselling the sales team? Am I doing all the work here? And they're just getting money from off my work? So they say the book is selling well, and I just stop promoting it in Norway to the bookstores, to everything. And I know when it's sort of sold out because I get friends with all these people. I keep close tabs. And the books, suddenly they, send me this message or something like, "Yeah, the sales are sort of stopping." I'm like, okay, I'm the one responsible for the book sales. I'm outselling their sales team. And I didn't feel like they pushed it hard. Now, maybe they had their good reasons to do that. Maybe they had other books that sold way more success, and they just marketed that. That's fine. Like that's nice. That's and I can see why that's happening. But to me, that's not a good deal. Just personally, to me, that's not a good deal. I get them if that's the case. Fair enough. So I sort of, I want to split with them because I can feel it's sort of going on my mental health. Because what happens is that every time I get an email from them, I feel like the stone in my stomach. I'm like, oh, what is it now? Because it's never good news. It's always this or that or blah, blah, blah. So I send them this email where, and this is, now the story gets a little bit crazy here. So I get this, I want to publish the second book and third book already because they need about a year or more to see the sales to decide if they want to go with it. And the time passes on. My books are ready. I've written all three. They're good to go. They need one final edit, so that's 2 months of work for each book. No problem. And I sort of tell them that I'm decided I'm going to publish the second book by myself. So I send them this email, and I don't have any obligation to them for book 2 or 3, none. But I still send them this email out of, respect. I send, hey, I just want to let you know I am considering publishing book 2 and 3 by myself. I want to self-publish that, just to let you guys know if you have any thoughts. And they come back to me like, hey, can you just hold on a bit? Let us just give us 2 more months or something. I'm sort of blurry on the details because it's a time ago, but they wanted more, a little bit more time, and I gave them that. And then they came back and said, we want to publish book 2 and 3. I'm like, okay, well, let's talk. And now they suddenly have time for a meeting. So it's sort of like when I threatened with publishing it myself, and now they have time to talk to me. So they set up this meeting. What happened in the meantime is that I had sent a message to the cover artist who made the first cover, asking if she would be interested in making the cover for book 2 and 3. Now, she's a freelance artist, right? So she is not working for the publisher. What I didn't know is that they had a close personal friendship. But, okay, it's a freelance artist. And she declines and says she think it could hurt her standing with the publisher, and I totally understand. It's up to any artist if they want to work with anyone. That's the whole idea. So she declines, and I say, okay, thank you so much for the first cover anyway. It's fantastic, and it's really cool. And then I get this email from the publisher, like, we know you're talking to the cover artist. She's showing us everything you're writing. I'm like,
wow.
Yeah? So? What's the problem? Why is that a problem? And like, we need to talk about this in the meeting, because the meeting had been set up. I'm like, fine. So I actually get in contact with the CEO of one of Norway's biggest publishing companies to ask her if I have overstepped. And I tell her the whole story, and I try to be as unbiased as possible. And I basically ask her at the end, like, do you think I've overstepped asking the freelance artists that they used, even though they're friends? And she goes like, no, she's a freelance artist. It's a free country. So is the UK. You can ask anyone. You haven't overstepped or anything. Like, okay, that's sort of good to hear. So I go into this meeting with the publisher, and we originally were supposed to talk about book 2 and 3 and potentially signing a deal. But first we have this other thing we need to discuss, which is this, the really, really gigantic problem that I contacted this freelance artist. We sit down, and one of them goes really hard on me, like, you overstepped, you did that, you were malicious in your intent. And I'm like, no, she's a freelance artist. And she was like, you were trying to hide this from us. I'm like, no, I wasn't. Why would I wouldn't listen. I told you I was going to publish book 2. I didn't think I'd have to tell you I was asking the cover artist this, because I really didn't think about it. I was honest. I was being honest. I really didn't think that would be a big deal. I don't see that if she worked with me, how that would be a problem even, but it would for them, and fair enough. And we sort of clear it up. They sort of give in a little bit, and I sort of give in. I say, I am really sorry it happened. If I had known that you were so close and this would offend you, I wouldn't have done it. I honestly didn't know. And we sort of overcome it, and they say, I think you've answered for yourself, and we've said our piece, and okay, let's put it behind us. So we sort of cleared it out. But the whole thing was stupid to begin with, but we got on the same page and got on. And we talked about book 2 and 3, and now suddenly they have this praise, like the book is really good, it's selling a lot. We can see that we want to do book 2 and 3. I'm like, fine, okay. So I send them book 2 to have a read through, and but in my head, I sort of didn't want to work with them. I hadn't decided. I wasn't like, I was leaning more towards working by myself. And they said that if that's the case, then they would have to release book 1 back to me, because they would have to, get it out of their stock. They give it back to me. I'm like, well, that sounds kind of nice, actually, because then I have complete control over the whole trilogy. So I gave them the book. They gave me, and they come back with one change that I sort of knew they would demand. It's like they want book 2. Have you read the second book, Dark Starbrand?
Yeah, I did.
Great. Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I did.
And they wanted the whole story to also be from Ara's perspective. And they came with these weird rules, like, well, it's very, very unusual for books to, if it's just one point of view in the first book, you should keep that through the whole trilogy. And I had all these examples of stories where that's not the case, where you open up for more characters in the sequels, right? Because it's more fun. And if you think through the story, it's impossible to tell from just Ara's perspective, because you have Adnar in there. He has his own chapters. Kenrick goes off, searches for Darlene. All these things, and it was just impossible. So I said, honestly, if I do that, I will be giving out a book that I can't really put my name on. I wouldn't be proud of the story. And I'll give her that. So the answer I got back for that, where I was just saying that I'm not comfortable making this change, the answer I got back was really nice. It was really like, okay, as an author, she said, as an author, I really understand this. I also, I agree with you. I couldn't put, if I couldn't be proud of my own story, I wouldn't get it out there. So I understand you. As a publisher, if you can't make this change, I'm sorry, this is a change we want. And then, sorry, we can't work together. And that was really nice. It was like a very nice sort of last interaction before I said that, okay, then I'm sorry, but we will not be working together on the trilogy. And it was a very nice ending. I don't think we're on any bad terms right now. And it's not like they're good people. Like, they are good people. We just had these creative differences sometimes, and it was just that they sort of failed on how to communicate with me much of the time, which I didn't appreciate, but I don't think there was any malicious intent. I just think that's how they communicate. I didn't appreciate it, but who am I to say that that's the wrong way to do it? Maybe that works for other authors. It just didn't work for me. So I got creative control back of book 1. Then I got a new cover for all of them. Same artist, great guy, Andre Batz. I don't know where he's from, but he's fantastic. And I republished the books. So that's sort of the publishing story for self-publishing. Yeah.